Dominic West as Jimmy McNulty. Dominic West brought Jimmy McNulty to life, the brilliant detective who hated authority almost as much as he hated losing. McNulty chased killers like it was personal, bending every rule to get justice. He was smart, stubborn, and self-destructive, wrecking his own life to save others. Whether he was making a fake serial killer or going rogue in the Western District, he never backed down. McNulty wasn't just chasing criminals. He was chasing something inside himself. Love chaos with a badge? Like, subscribe, and follow for more Wire icons. John Doman as William A. Rawls. John Doman gave us Rawls, cold as ice, loyal to the system, and a master of internal politics. He didn't care about justice. He cared about the numbers. Rawls ruled with fear and finesse, crushing careers to make himself look good. But under all that tough talk, he knew how the game was played, and he played it well. Love a good villain in a suit? Rawls was the man you loved to hate. Smash that like button, subscribe, and we'll keep the bosses coming. Deirdre Lovejoy as Rhonda Perlman. Deirdre Lovejoy made Rhonda Perlman sharp, smart, and always a step ahead. As an assistant state's attorney, she worked the courts like a battlefield, outmaneuvering dirty cops and slippery criminals. She knew when to push, when to compromise, and when to bring the hammer down. And let's be real, she held her own in a world full of power-hungry men. Perlman wasn't just part of the system, she used it. Want more power plays and courtroom heat? Like, subscribe, and stay locked in. Wendell Pierce as Bunk Moreland. Wendell Pierce made Bunk Moreland unforgettable, a detective who mixed charm, wisdom, and no-nonsense police work. Bunk wasn't just comic relief. He was the voice of reason when McNulty spun out. Behind the cigars and smooth suits, he had heart, hustle, and real pain. Bunk solved murders, not for glory, but because someone had to care when no one else did. Respect real detectives? Tap like, subscribe, and let Bunk school you. Lance Reddick as Cedric Daniels. Lance Reddick's Cedric Daniels was calm, commanding, and full of moral tension. A man stuck between what's right and what works. He rose through the ranks without selling out. No easy task in Baltimore's broken police machine. Daniels was the rare leader who refused to look the other way, even when it cost him everything. He showed that real strength is restraint. Salute the real ones. Like, subscribe, and remember Cedric Daniels. Sonia Sohn as Kima Greggs. Sonia Sohn brought fire to Kima Greggs, a fearless narcotics cop who fought hard on the street and even harder to keep her integrity intact. She balanced duty and personal life, even when both pulled her apart. Kima didn't need to shout to prove her worth. She let her work speak. She stood tall in a world of egos and proved she belonged on any squad. If you respect the grind and grit, like, subscribe, and follow Kima's lead. Seth Gilliam as Ellis Carver. Seth Gilliam gave Ellis Carver a full-circle journey, from hot-headed rookie to thoughtful sergeant who actually cared. At first, Carver was all muscle and no brain, chasing busts like it was a game. But The Wire showed us his growth, his failures, and his awakening. By the end, Carver was one of the few who tried to do it right, for the community, not just the department. Love a redemption arc? Smash like, hit subscribe, and ride with Carver. Dominic Lombardozzi as Thomas Herc Hawk. Dominic Lombardozzi made Herc unforgettable, loud, impulsive, and often in way over his head. He was the muscle of the unit, breaking doors and bending rules, but rarely thinking about the consequences. Herc thought the job was all about action, not strategy, and it cost him. His journey from uniform cop to failed wiretap agent showed just how badly the system can eat you alive when you don't learn. Like characters who crash, burn, and keep going? Hit like, subscribe, and roll with Herc. Clark Peters as Lester Freeman. Clark Peters was smooth, brilliant, and underrated as Lester Freeman, the quiet detective who cracked the biggest cases by playing the long game. While others chased corner boys, Lester followed the money and exposed entire criminal empires. They said he was natural police, and they were right. Freeman was the brain behind The Wire. Love smart, silent operators? Like, subscribe, and let Lester show you how it's done. Andre Royo as Bubbles. Andre Royo's Bubbles was the heart of The Wire. a streetwise junkie with a soul too big for the life he was stuck in. He made us laugh, cry, and look inward. Bubs was a survivor, a snitch, a brother, and ultimately, a man chasing redemption. His story wasn't flashy. It was raw, human, and unforgettable. Respect the hustle and the hurt? Like, subscribe, and honor Bubbles' journey. Michael K. Williams as Omar Little. Michael K. Williams made Omar Little a legend, shotgun in hand, code in heart. Omar robbed drug dealers, walked the streets alone, and lived by his own rules. He was gay, fearless, and absolutely iconic. In a world full of killers, Omar was something different, a man who hunted monsters, but tried not to become one. If you ever heard Omar comin', smash that like, hit subscribe, and pay tribute to the king. Jim Truefrost as Roland Prez Przybylewski. Jim Truefrost gave us Prez, a screw-up cop who found his calling as a teacher. At first, Prez was clumsy, with a gun, and clueless on the streets. But in the classroom, he found purpose and hope. He traded his badge for a chalkboard and proved that real change starts with the kids. Prez's story was one of growth, heart, and transformation. Believe in second chances? Like, subscribe, and follow Prez's path. Frankie Faison as Irvin Burrell. Frankie Faison brought authority and survival instinct to Irvin Burrell, the police commissioner caught between politics and policing. Burrell didn't want justice. He wanted to keep his job. He played the game, managed the numbers, and kept the bosses happy. But behind that polished image was a man who knew the city was falling apart. Like your power players conflicted? Smash like, subscribe, and respect Burrell's hustle. Corey Parker Robinson as Leander Sidner. Corey Parker Robinson played Sidner, young, sharp, and full of promise. He came up under Freeman and learned from the best. Sidner was one of the few who didn't get corrupted by the system, but even he saw how broken it was. In the end, he might have been the next McNulty or the last hope. Want to see what's left of the good ones? Like, subscribe, and follow Sidner's steps. Delaney Williams as Jay Landsman. Delaney Williams made Jay Landsman a sarcastic, donut-loving homicide sergeant who always had a comment, a wisecrack, or a story too wild to be true. But beneath the jokes, he kept the unit moving and knew how to read people like a book. Landsman didn't chase cases. He chased peace, pension, and paperwork done right. And in a messed up system, maybe that made him the smartest guy in the room. Love a character who keeps it funny and functional? Like, subscribe, and give it up for Landsman. J.D. Williams as Bodie Broadus. J.D. Williams played Bodie, born in the game, loyal to the streets, and a soldier through and through. From slinging on the corners to standing his ground when no one else would, Bodie was more than just another dealer. He had pride, courage, and in the end, a sense of honor that cost him everything. His arc was real, raw, and heartbreaking. Respect those who die standing? Smash like, hit subscribe, and remember Bodie Broadus. Wood Harris as Avon Barksdale. Wood Harris brought swagger, strategy, and menace to Avon Barksdale, the drug kingpin who ran West Baltimore like a CEO with a body count. Avon was loyal, ruthless, and believed in the old ways. Muscle first, message second. He wasn't just a dealer. He was a symbol of control. But in a changing game, Avon learned that power doesn't last forever. Love a classic boss who played it like chess? Like, subscribe, and bow to the Barksdale legend. Idris Elba as Stringer Bell. Idris Elba was cold, calculated, and brilliant as Stringer Bell, the brains behind Barksdale. He took street business and turned it into a corporation. College books in one hand, drug ledgers in the other. But the streets don't follow spreadsheets, and Stringer's ambition blinded him to the rules of the game. He wasn't built for the corners, and it caught up. Love a mastermind with a fatal flaw? Like, subscribe, and watch Stringer's rise and fall. Aidan Gillen as Tommy Carcetti. Aidan Gillen gave us Tommy Carcetti, a young, ambitious politician with charm and fire in his eyes. He started with big dreams of reform, but politics is a dirty game. And slowly, Carcetti compromised piece by piece until he became what he once fought against. He wanted to save the city, but first he had to survive it. Interested in the cost of power? Like, subscribe, and follow the Carcetti campaign crash course. Jamie Hector as Marlo Stanfield. Jamie Hector was ice cold as Marlo Stanfield, the silent killer who took over Baltimore with nothing but fear. No words, no mercy, just precision and dominance. Marlo didn't care about respect, just power. And when he got it, he realized he had no idea what to do with it. He wasn't in it for the money. He was the game. Love villains who chill your soul? Like, subscribe, and step into Marlo's shadow. Benga Akinagbe as Chris Partlow. Benga Akinagbe played Chris Partlow, Marlo's enforcer, and maybe the most terrifying man in the show. Quiet, loyal, and deadly. Chris wasn't flashy, he was focused. He cleaned up Marlo's messes without emotion, but his past hinted at pain too deep to speak. He was the ghost behind every disappearing body. Respect the silent storm? Hit like, subscribe, and walk the dark with Chris Partlow. Robert Wisdom as Howard Bunny Colvin. Robert Wisdom gave us Bunny Colvin, the police major who tried to change the game by rewriting the rules. His Amsterdam experiment was bold, controversial, and completely illegal, but it was also the only thing that actually worked. Bunny wasn't afraid to challenge the system, even when it cost him his career. He believed in people, not stats. Want more rebels who fight smart? Like, subscribe, and walk the beat with Bunny Colvin. Anwin Glover as Slim Charles. Anwin Glover made Slim Charles cool, calm, and loyal. The rare street soldier with wisdom and principle. He stayed solid through every regime, from Barksdale to Stanfield, always choosing the code over the chaos. Slim knew the game, but never let it twist his soul. And when it came time to lead, he didn't flinch. Respect the ones who stay true? Hit like, subscribe, and salute Slim Charles. Felicia Pearson as Snoop. Felicia Pearson was Snoop, a stone-cold killer with a chilling voice and a smile that meant death. She didn't need speeches, just a nail gun and a name. Snoop was one of the most feared assassins on the show, but her quiet power made her iconic. Real, raw, and unforgettable. If her first words gave you chills, smash like, hit subscribe, and remember Snoop's name. Chad L. Coleman as Dennis Cuddy Wise. Chad L. Coleman brought soul to Cuddy, the ex-con who came out of prison ready to return to the game, but chose a different path. He opened a boxing gym and gave kids what the system never could: guidance, discipline, and a future. Cuddy's story was about redemption and purpose. He wasn't just muscle, he had heart. Believe in turning your life around? Like, subscribe, and follow Cuddy's fight for change.